1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 21 minutes after 11 o'clock, there's a tornado watch in effect. That means conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form. Right now, it doesn't look too bad out there, but the tornado watch is in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, we'll update that if need be. Right now, there has not been a tornado spotted, but there is a storm coming our way where conditions will be favorable. So you just need to know that and be prepared for that. Another thing you might want to be prepared for is the possibility of colon cancer. It's something you don't want to think about. It's something you don't want to talk about. So you're going to let Robert and I talk about it. You just listen and then make a decision on how to protect yourself. Dr. Dustin Deming is our guest. He's a gastrointestinal oncologist at the University of Wisconsin Carbone Center. Robin, that's your college, right? That's the
yeah,
school
go Badgers.
He himself is a colorectal cancer patient, by the way. He's on the phone to talk to us about that. Dr. Dustin Deming, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hope I got all that right. Where are you? Are you in Wisconsin right now?
I am.
So how are you doing, first of all?
Doing great here.
Yeah, and you went through the cancer treatments. Did you fare okay with that?
So I had just finished all of my training to be an expert in colorectal cancer, and then 2 weeks later, I myself was diagnosed with rectal cancer.
Wow.
Fortunately, it was caught at an early stage where I was able to have surgery, chemo, and radiation, and doing well 5 years later.
That's good. Did you have any symptoms?
So I ended up having blood in the stool.
And you could see, because I've heard that it might be there, but we don't see it, right?
So it can be frank blood in the stool, but also can just be black stools.
Oh, okay. So this is National Colon Cancer Awareness Month, the month of March, and so this is obviously a good time to be talking about this. As an oncologist who you look at this all the time, do you think, like in your case, we could have prevented it sooner with a what do they call it again, Robin? Colonoscopy? Yeah.
So the best way to treat colon cancer is actually to prevent it. And with screening colonoscopy, we can actually identify cancers when they're actually still benign polyps. And removing those prevents cancers from ever forming.
Sometimes people are afraid to go for any kind of invasive tests. How do you alleviate their fears?
So I think the important part here is understanding the benefit that happens as part of the colonoscopy. In that really the colonoscopy is saving lives. We're seeing the rates of cancer deaths going down largely because of screening happening. And overall, we're getting much better at doing colonoscopies. This is much different than it was 10 years ago, where now many patients come in, they take a nap, and when they wake up, the colonoscopy is done.
That's my favorite part, your sleep. That's my favorite part of that. How long, is it 2 days of drinking the fluid that you need to drink before the actual procedure?
So usually it's about 24 hours.
Okay.
There are some tricks, though, to make it better.
What is that?
Starting a liquid diet for a few days ahead of time can really decrease the amount of prep you need to drink. And then also dividing up the prep, sometimes over a couple days, can make it easier as well.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, okay.
And is there a certain age that we should start going for this test, or can we do it while you're a teenager?
So in general, greater than 90% of patients diagnosed with colon cancer are older than age 50. So we typically start screening at age 50. That is, unless someone has a family history of colon cancer, and in that case, we often think about doing it earlier than age 50.
Are there things that we do that cause the polyps to start in the first place, or are there things we can do to not, you know what I mean? Like, is it spicy foods? Is it lifestyle at all?
So lifestyle actually plays an important role in colon cancer prevention. And so what we see is that people who have diets high in animal fats have a higher rate of forming polyps and cancers. In addition, people who have a more sedentary lifestyle, they don't exercise as much as we need to, they also have increased rates of colon cancer.
Can a person have this cancer treated, like you said earlier in the interview, by radiation, or do you sometimes have to have part of the colon removed?
So in general, when people are diagnosed with a localized colorectal cancer, surgery is the best way to successfully treat the cancer.
The scary thing is to do it, to go through with because nobody wants to know. It's kind of like we don't want to go to the doctor for the test because we're afraid he's going to say we have something. But that's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, anybody who's a thinking person will say that doesn't make sense. So what do you recommend? I mean, is there any tricks to getting past that hurdle?
The best I can come up with is just understanding is that the earlier you're diagnosed, the better treatment options you have. And the later stages of the cancer are much, much harder to treat and end up with a lot more therapies needed.
Does the cancer stay within the colon then as you're being treated, or can it move to other parts of the body?
So our hope is to detect the cancer while it's still localized and then have it removed. Cancer that is already spread, unfortunately, can't continue to spread.
The website that was given to us for this interview, actually I have three of them. One is loveyourcolon.org. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of these, Doctor. The other one is ccalliance.org. And the third one is fightcolorectalcancer.org. Anything you want to tell us about the websites? Do they help us understand what it is, or is one are they for different purposes, the different websites?
So they're largely from our advocacy group, and they have a lot of great patient-centered resources that make this whole process very easy to understand. And you can connect with people who've been diagnosed with colon cancer. Also, great strategies there for how to go through the screening.
And you were very young when you were diagnosed. You said you were 31?
That's correct.
Wow.
Gosh.
Dr. Dustin Deming, thank you so much for being on the air to share this with us. I promised our listeners we would talk about it so they didn't have to, but now it is time. You have to. You have to talk to your doctor. Dr. Deming gave us some good information, and we'll make sure we put this up as a podcast. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. 3 people are hurt in a shooting at a high school in Great Mills, Maryland. The shooter's one of them. We don't know how badly anyone's hurt or exactly what happened yet. Police there are telling parents to leave the area and pick their children up at another school where they're being bused. Its co-founder Harvey Weinstein was fired over sexual assault allegations, and now the Weinstein Company movie and TV studio has declared bankruptcy with a buyout offer standing by.
Lantern Capital Partners said to be ready to make the buy, subject to approval by a bankruptcy court in Delaware. The company also says it's tossing out non-disclosure agreements signed by any alleged victims or witnesses to Weinstein's reported sexual abuse, so they may be able to tell their stories.
Fox's Jill Nato. Fox News. We report, you decide.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior